right, everybody, we are here. This is our week 4. Um, so I don't want to take a lot of our time, if any of it, really on what I'm personally navigating right now. If you are in the clients and cash flow, I just did a little update in there. I also drew our two our winners in there. So just so you know, if my energy's a little not so Kelly today, it's because I'm still like trying to find my way back. Like one minute I'm like, woo, let's take on the world. The next minute I just want to curl up in my pajamas with a pizza, and I'm gluten free. So it's been a minute. So, but I'm so glad to be here with you all today. And we have a lot to cover today. I just want to just double check something here. Okay, we're good. We're good. All right, everything's good. Um, okay, Miguel. Okay, no worries. Check the recording. Thank you for being here. Because I know you're on a different time zone and all. So thank you for being here with us these past 3 weeks live. And I look forward to seeing more of you in the future. All right. Okay, so let's dive into today. So today's week 4. And I might need to shift myself a little bit here. Whoop, whoop. Okay. All right. So today we're going to be talking about marketing and getting your first slash next clients and what that looks like. So the first thing I want to do is we have been building, right? This has been like a building block, right? And so I'm going to refer back again to the easiest way to get your business started and to get some paying clients is to have a little bit of clarity around who you want to help, some services that you want to offer, and we talked about these buckets, and your simple pricing, which my recommendation is to have an hourly and a package offer, right? And for some of you who are offering more strategic, not more strategic, but a more professional service like nursing and healthcare related services. We talked about your pricing a little bit for you more specifically. And if you're in fully booked, we can definitely spend more time on that inside fully booked, because we also talk about I don't remember, I think it's a 7 or 8 part pricing module inside there, and then you can also bring all of your pricing questions to any of the open Q&As, and we can go through that. Plus we do pricing one sheet days where we all come together and review pricing. So if that's you and you need more one-to-one on the pricing, definitely, and if you're going to be in that program, know that that will be available to you. So with that, what we need to do now is like, okay, so I kind of have an idea of what I want to do and who I want to help, and I've decided how I'm going to price it for now in the beginning, remembering that all of this is a trial and error. Okay? We do not expect to have it perfect. Do not expect your first run out the door to be perfection, right? Like anything that you've ever done in life, you know, the first time you did it, it probably didn't go as well as the second time you did it, or the third time you did it, or the fourth time you did it. Unless you're a parent, because you never get that right. I swear, we don't get that right at all. But so really, I just want you to really get this. Holding yourself back from trying is the biggest thing that's going to get in your way. Is just the holding back. There is no growth from holding yourself back. Nobody wants your perfection. They just want your help. So if we talk about now from a marketing perspective, what we want to do, and really my goal here for you all is for us to really like strip down all of the information that is out there. Because I know the same for me. When I started, everything, like I tried to follow everything that everybody else was saying, And what I found was there was a lot of overcomplication. And I still see that today in any market, in all coaching, in all industries, an overcomplication. I really want to strip it down for you all. So here's what you need to like start with, and this is what you're going to start with and practice in motion, right? So practicing in motion means you're going to go out and you're going to do it, and then you're going to get some feedback and you're going to do it. You're going to get some feedback and you're going to do it. You're going to get some feedback, and you just have to accept that that is correct. Okay? Versus thinking, oh, I went to an event, I told somebody about what it was I do, they gave me the glassed over stare, I must be doing it wrong. And it just means you just have to do it again. Do it again, right? So some people tell me that I'll be like, oh, well, they're like, oh, it's not working. I'm giving up on my business. I'm like, okay, well, how many like conversations have you had with people? They're like, oh, so many. And I'm like, how many so many? Because the brain likes to make up stories. I'm like, well, how many so many? And they're like 12. And I'm like, 12? How about like 100? Go talk to 100 people about your business and then come back and tell me that it's not working. Okay? So what our expectations are and how I think the the online space, especially if you're following anything online, and the algorithms will find you and put all these things in front of you that then distract you. But in the online space, a lot of times what you will hear is a lot of like 10K in 30 days, and you just have to do this one thing, and you only have to do these two things, and you can do this. And there is a little bit like, I'm telling you, this is all you have to do, but I'm not going to tell you you're going to have 10K in 30 days. If that happens, it could, but the likelihood of that happening is not true. Okay. It's going to take you a little bit more time. And I don't want any of you to think that you're failing because it's taking you longer than you think it's going to take. So here's what you do want to practice getting better at. Number one, talking about your services simply, no jargon. Don't use any fancy jargon. Lifestyle management experts, full service concierge services, although that can be okay for the right market. But like personal errands, errand running, home helper, like things that people are literally looking for. What are the words that are coming out of the mouth of the person who's looking for you, not the fancy words that you have in your head, right? So we want to be simple. That's why when we go back and we think about, goodness gracious, this part, like we're not saying my niche is blankety blank. No, we're just saying I help seniors. I help people who were newly diagnosed with hypertension and diabetics, right? I help, very simple. Who do you help? I help people. I help people in my community. I help people in the 19999 zip code. I help people in Cassequa, township, right? Like I help this bucket of humans, and this is what I do in simple terms, no jargon. Where to find these people and who are looking for you. So that's what we want to do next is we want to find the people. But here's where I think a lot of marketing is misinterpreted and misrepresented. An ideal client is someone who needs your services, is actively like looking for you, and is willing to pay you. That's who an ideal client is. So some people will say to me, how do I get them to? No, 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 no. Because once you get into that vibe of getting people, which is where I think this misinterpretation of marketing is that it's not your job to go out there and try to be everything to everyone and to get the masses to you. You don't need the masses. You literally want to be out here. I talk about marketing in a way. So this is you, and you're out here talking about your business, right? And you're marketing. And the reality is that for every 10 people, especially in the beginning, it gets less the longer you're in business, right? Marketing is you being out there doing your marketing, right? Which is talking to people, telling them what you do, who you help, how they can hire you or refer you, right? That is your core marketing. That's what marketing is. Marketing in in most industries is not solved simply by having a website or simply by having doing ads or flyers or paper advertisements. So if you're out there doing your marketing, there is normally one person out of 10 who is likely looking for someone like you right now. So 1 out of 10 people that you talk to about your business may actually be someone who is actively looking for you. So what we do is we do our marketing so that this one person who is actively looking for your help, which your help meaning what it is that you offer, right? Then they start looking and you are the obvious choice. But they can't find you if you're not marketing, if you're just hiding. And then the difference too is that I think most people misinterpret marketing as you going to get these people. Your job isn't to go and get these people. That'd be like go and getting somebody, the old pictures of like bopping them over the head with the club and like dragging them back, right? Your job isn't to go and get them. Your job is to be there so that when they need you, you are the obvious choice. So they can't find you if you're not marketing. So where to find people who are looking for you? Well, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times what happens is the services that we're offering can sometimes often be services that we have either needed or family members have needed, or we have seen a gap in the industry, in the world, right? Like my husband and I, yesterday he went to the store to buy me heated socks for my trip to Quebec. And we were talking, and I was like, well, why did they do this and why didn't they do that? Right? We saw a gap in the market. Right now, I have zero desires to go out and create a product for heated socks. But if I did, I would make sure that I was solving the problems and the gap in the market. So oftentimes you have some knowledge because it's how you kind of found yourself here. So if you were looking for you, where would you be looking for you? And start like making a list of like, where would I be looking for me? Versus having to go all out there to get them. So then when you position yourself in places where these people who might need you, this 1 in 10, when you position yourself in these places, whether it's a group or a community or a networking group or a mom's group, or it's all going to be variable based on who your ideal clients are. Where are they looking for you? Where are they going for resources? Right? So before I had a website for the Concierge Academy, before I wrote my book, I had people coming out of nowhere who were seeking me out to help them start their businesses. This was back like, I was in business for like 2.5 years, and people were like, oh my God, how'd you do this? How'd you get started? The same thing I did, right? I was calling people, I called people in Florida and California because I was nowhere near them. I wouldn't be seen as competition. And they were like, yeah, they would give me like 30 minutes of their time, and I would leave that call thinking I had the whole world in my hand, and I realized like 10 minutes later, oh, that's not quite enough, right? Or what they were telling me to do, they weren't even actually successful in the expectations that I had for myself. But so I had no website. So what I did is I took my concierge website and I actually put, when I started to coach, I had no website. I didn't have the time or the bandwidth to build a website. I didn't have the time or the bandwidth to have an extra Facebook page or an Instagram or a YouTube channel, right? So what I did is I had a button on my actual website that was like, are you looking to start a business? Click here. Because I knew where people were looking. And so I made it available for them. So where are your people looking for you? The third thing is building relationships, intentionally building relationships so that people will refer you. So when we're building relationships, we also want to build relationships with what are called centers of influence. And inside, for those of you who are already enrolled in Fully Booked, that is inside the networking modules and in the referral modules. We talk more about centers of influence and we go into that in more detail. But in essence, what a center of influence is if your client, this is your one client, is here, what are the other services and people that this client is using? And then you build relationships with these other business owners. So, for example, what happens often is, for example, let's say you do websites for a living, right? So if you do websites, so this is a client who is probably a new business owner, maybe established, and often they need other services. So what happens is website builders will often align themselves with people who write copy. Some website builders do copy also, but most of them don't. So they might, for people who do copy, it might be somebody who does branding. For the record, you don't need any of this stuff in the beginning. You don't need any of that. But I'm just, for the sake of helping you understand a center of influence, maybe it's a SEO specialist. Maybe it's somebody who does Google ads. Maybe it is a business coach. Maybe it's a photographer who does, branding photos. So then what you do is, if you're building websites for businesses, you want to align yourself with these other people, because then if somebody comes to them for copy and they need a website built, they can refer their client. If they go to a local business coach and the business coach says, okay, it's time to build a website, they can refer here. The photographer and branding can do here. The person here can do here. You see, there's synergy, right? The same with, like, if you've been in healthcare at all, right, and you have a primary care physician, he will want to build relationships with, let's say, urology. and GI and maybe pain management and GYN. And then the same thing, right? Urology might need to have relationships with GYN, and GI might need to have relationships with primary care. You see, there's a center of influence, there's synergy here. Now, the primary care physician, from a business marketing perspective, doesn't need to worry about where to buy lunch, right? That wouldn't be a center of influence. The local restaurant isn't a center of influence. That another center of influence could be, I mean, you could have a nutritionist, right? So that could be a good alignment. So if you sell nutritional coaching of some kind, then you might want to connect with some primary care physicians. You might want to connect with some GI people because maybe you have a client that has, gluten sensitivity or other GI issues. So this is what your centers of influence will look like. It's the other businesses that I say, touch your client. Now, it's not just other businesses, it's other people too. So it's businesses and people. So if you are any service and you belong to like a mom's group of some kind, all of those people should know what it is that you do because moms talk. And they might not need you, but if they understand what it is that you do, they will likely refer you. Because referrals come in 3 core ways. So let's go back here first. So we have simple, where they're looking for you, building the relationship so people can refer you. So there are 3 levels of referrals. That's right. Referrals. Okay. There are people who know you well and have used your services. Or have referred you in the past. And this comes a little bit later because when you're first starting out, you're not getting any referrals, but you will. The second level of referrals is people who would refer you given the chance. And the third type are people who need to be educated longer. Which is why building out referral campaigns is important. So it's one of my favorite marketing strategies is referral campaigns. So if you were your ideal client, where would you look for you? We already said that. And then this is the core crux of, if marketing was super simple, it would be meet people, nurture relationships, and teach people how to either hire you or refer you. Which is why teach people how to hire you or refer you, which is why this groundwork was so important. Because this is what you're going to use to teach people how to hire you or refer you. This is who I help. This is what I do. People hire me to help them with these things. People can hire me by the this or the that. And then this is what you do in your marketing. This is what you talk about when you're meeting people. And again, sometimes this comes up in everyday conversations. Oh, I recently started a business. I help seniors. Yet, oh, really? What is it you do? Right? Remember, we're not using any jargon. We're speaking simply. And then there's also for businesses to really consistently, I don't want to say this isn't 100% true for everybody, but it's often the case. To be consistently referred, you also have to build relationships with other people who are other businesses, other business owners, simply because other business owners want to share business. They want to help give other people business. Until you've built enough reciprocity with people in your community, then you can slowly start backing off of your marketing. But that usually takes a couple years of consistency. And it will also depend on how big of a business you want. Are you trying to make $500 a month or are you trying to make $8,000 a month? That's also going to determine the amount of marketing that you're going to do. So if you want a 50K business, you have to give your business 50K worth of your energy and love and commitment. You can't just say, I want a 50K business and then just sit back and just expect it to fall in your lap. It doesn't happen that way. So I want to look for a second now at this is the marketing wheel. So I created this way back. And it is still to today because it's core marketing principles. Like other things can come and go, but these things, they've stuck around since the beginning of time. Okay. And this is what I call the marketing wheel. So inside your hub too, under the worksheets, you'll also see this. Okay. So this is the marketing wheel. So what is the marketing? We have networking. We have what I call the keep in touch campaigns. So keep in touch is, so if you meet people networking in a formal way, like a networking group or a chamber of commerce or that kind of thing, you're networking and then you want to keep in touch. You want to build in processes around how you're going to keep in touch with those relationships versus meet them once and move on. Because data shows us now, back in the day when I started, data was apparently 7 touches. If anybody's ever heard the 7 touches thing, you have to have 7 touches before somebody hires you. Then about, I don't know, more than 5 years ago, probably 8 or so years ago, it hit 21. 21 touches. Now data shows us sometimes it takes 40. 40! And what that means is people, right? Because you're over here doing your marketing. That's why you have to be doing your marketing. So when this one person stands up and is like, where are they? I need help with X, right? You have multiple areas of marketing that people can find you. So today it can take upwards of 40 touches. So that might mean they met you at a networking event. That might mean, and then they saw you post on Facebook 5 times, and then somebody recommended you to them, and a friend down the street said, oh, have you heard about so-and-so's business, right? Like all of those are included in touches, right? It doesn't always mean that you have to actively go back out to everybody, like, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? It's not like that, but it's more of it's a consistency of your name in the market, which is why consistency in marketing is so important. Then we have some low cost marketing things, like you can have your, logos on t-shirts, you can have business cards. All of these things are low cost marketing strategies. that will just support your overall business. Online presence, if you want to have an online presence, it is a good way to nurture the people that are already in your aura and new people that you meet. So when we talk about keeping in touch, social media and an online presence is a simple, free way to stay relevant, but you don't have to use it. This is just a base framework, and then you will each make it work for you. Referral systems, putting a referral system in place, educating the marketplace. Okay, this is what we talked about. Who you help, what you do, how people can hire you. It's when I first started my business, the word and term concierge was very like unknown. So I was constantly educating people as to what that actually meant, because I would go to networking events and they would say, "Oh, like at a hotel?" And I would have to educate them. No, and I would simply say things like, "No, basically people hire me to come in and organize their house. No, people hire me to run their errands for them." And they're like, "Oh, really? Like what?" And then I have the opportunity to tell them. Because when you are introducing and you're talking to people, your number one goal is not, unbeknownst to me when I started networking, I thought that my number one goal was to get a sale while I was there on the spot. That's what I read online. That's what the workshops I went to told me to do, yada, yada. That is not how it works. You want to go and you want to spark just enough curiosity for people to be like, "Oh, really? What's that about? Oh, really? Tell me more. Oh, really? What's that like? Oh, really? Who are your clients? Oh, really? What would be a good referral for you? Oh, really? Why did you start this business? Oh, really? How did you get into this? Oh, really?" Right? That's literally all you want to get when you're in your networking events. You want to get that engagement, because then once they ask you the question, their brains are on. They're listening. They're curious. They actually actively want to know, right? They're like that 1 in 10. They might not hire you, but their ears are open enough that they're curious enough that now they will hopefully retain what it is that you tell them versus you going to get people. And then of course we have a website. You all have heard me say you don't need a website to get started. And I stand by that 150% over and over again. You do not need a website to get started. Will you want a website eventually? Yes. But it's more than most people think. I get a website, I put it up there, and all of a sudden I get flooded with new clients. That is not the reality. Most people don't know your website exists unless you're actively actually sending people to your website. So that is why it's one of those things when I talk about, getting your business started and people, get caught up in what they think they need to get started. And they're like, "Oh, I need to have a website. I need business cards. I need insurance." And you don't need any of these things to get started. What you need is you need to have an idea of who you're helping, right? How you're going to charge them, and how you're going to take payment. How you're going to take their money. I say that with love. But how you're going to take their money. That's what you need. This is all nice to haves. Business cards are definitely a little bit nice to have. It's a nice leave behind when you meet people. But the website and the insurance, these things, they take time. You don't want to be waiting to get your website up when you could be out talking to people. Let's say even if you only talk to 10 people a month for 6 months, that's 60 people in person you got to connect with, that they got to learn about your business, that you could have left an impression on them versus spending 6 months just to get the website done. Right? So this is one of those things. If you want to do this, great. Do it over here on the side. While you're marketing here, you're doing it on the side. Just like many of you who are working full-time businesses or full-time jobs, right? You're doing your full-time job and you're marketing over here, right? You're carving out intentionally how much time you're going to give your business a week. When you're working part-time, intentionally, how much time are you going to give your business a week? And if you're full-time in your business and you want the website, it's like, okay, how much time are you intentionally going to give to the website build a week? And it cannot be 30 hours a week. Because first of all, you're not going to give it 30 hours a week. Websites are a behemoth and they rack your brain. And the reality is, when you get started, you don't really know yet who these ideal clients are. You don't really know yet what you really want to do. You have an idea of it. So until you go out there and you start selling it and start doing work for people and you get that feedback and you're like, yes, I like this. Yes, I like this. No, I don't like that. No, I don't like that. Here are the clients I really love to work with. Then now you have real data versus shit you just pull out of your head, or some of you are going to Chat GPT, asking Chat GPT to give you all the words for your websites. And the bad thing about that is Chat is going out into the interwebs and pulling from thousands of other websites, and everybody's shit sounds like everybody else's shit, and it doesn't align with who you are. So, all this can be happening over on the side, but you want to go get some paying clients first. I have some people who come into fully booked and they're like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I know you told me not to work on my website, Kelly, but it took me 5 months and 18 days and it's up there and it's running and I'm so proud of myself. I'm like, good for you. Yeah. And then the first 5 clients, I'm like, where did those first 5 clients come from? Oh, my networking. I'm like, yeah, remember that website? Remember that conversation we had 18 times? Told you not to be wasting all that time? They're like, I know. They all come back and they're like, I know, I should have listened. Now, some businesses thrive more on websites. Those are usually the businesses that people are like Google searching for. Our services, a lot of times people aren't Google searching for. Miguel might be different because his is more location based and there's like travel based and it's second home based. So his is a little bit different because people who live here, who are looking for help here, another country away, that the website might generate more interest for him and his people. But most of us, that's not where people are going. So this is your marketing wheel. Now, what you want to do is you don't try to tackle the whole wheel at once. Pick 3. What are the top 3 that you're going to focus on? Whether you're going to focus on that in fully booked or you're not moving on with us in fully booked, what are the top 3 that you're going to focus on over the next 90, 120 days? Identify them so that you know exactly where you're going to put your time. Because otherwise what happens is you're going to walk away and you're just going to have all these ideas with no decision making behind it. The best thing you can do for yourself as a business owner is make decisions and then just run with them. And then you'll get answers and then you'll maybe remake a new decision. There is no certainty in business. Being afraid to waste time is a real valid point. We all don't want to waste time. We all don't want to do something and have it not result in results that we want to see. But I'm telling you, you can't hold yourself back for that. The only thing that's certain in business is that it's uncertain. It's also energetic, which is why I talk about if you want a 50K business, give it 50K worth of your passion, your love, your energy, your desire. It's as if you were treating and taking care of a child, so to speak. So it's energetic in the sense of what you pour in has to and will eventually pour out. So I use this analogy all the time. where if you remember, like when my kids were little, we used to always go to we still go actually, to the water parks, right? And then in the water parks, most of them have like one of the things where the big bucket's on the top and the water fills in the bucket and it makes a loud noise and then the bucket tips over and the kids stand underneath and get splashed and run away screaming. And the adults all try to stand as much on the periphery as possible because we don't want to get that wet. That is what your marketing is like. So your marketing is just taking action to the best of your ability with what you know now, consistently, not half-ass. It's got to be consistent. Whether you're working full-time and your consistency is 2 hours a week, or you're working part-time and your consistency is 5 hours a week, you just give it consistency. And what happens is your marketing. So this is going to networking groups. This is building relationships with people. This is doing some keep in touch. This is sharing what you're doing. This is being involved in the community. This is maybe posting on social media. What happens is all of this goes into the bucket, and universal law says this bucket is going to dump at some point into an opportunity to work with a client. But it takes this for this to happen. And then what happens sometimes is, I call it the rubber band. It was a framework that I came up with years ago called the rubber band versus the boomerang. So most people, for example, we'll just use a networking group, right? Because people will give me this one often. Number one, if you're networking and not getting results, it's because you're not networking properly. You're not either doing it enough, you're not doing it properly, and you're not following up enough. Networking always works. But let's say you're networking and you've gone to 40 events in the past 4 months, okay? And you're not getting anything from it. But then out of the blue, somebody just calls you. They found your card somewhere. They saw your flyer on the side of a building, whatever it is. Like this client just calls you and you say it's out of the blue. Actually, it's not out of the blue. It was from the energy that you put into the networking. Just happened to come back to you in a different form. This is the law of cause and effect in its essence. You were doing the work, the effect comes out. The rubber band versus the boomerang. The rubber band is you go to a networking event and you expect to get a client at that networking event. You go, you expect the client. You go, you expect the client. You go, you expect the client. That is not what we do. That is what I call transactional marketing. You're only doing it because you're expecting to get something in return for it. Now, yes, are we marketing to get clients? Yes, of course we are, right? But there's a difference between I'm marketing to get clients and I'm marketing to get this client, right? There's a different energy behind it. So whereas if we do the boomerang, right? So that's the rubber band. You do one specific thing and you expect a result directly from that thing. You post on social media, you expect somebody to respond. You expect a like, you expect a share, you expect somebody to call you and pick up the phone. That's not how it always works. Your job is to keep sending boomerangs. Boomerang your marketing versus rubber banding it. So you send the boomerang out, which is you go to the networking event and you go again. And you just go again. And you sign up for the club. And you offer to volunteer. And you do a free thingy. And you do this for a community event. And you post on social media. And you're throwing out these boomerangs of energy. And what happens is the energy goes and and you get a client out of nowhere. This is the law of cause and effect. So we have to allow and remember, I still have this. This has been my belief for years. The universe responds to your request based on the action you take. This is the law of reciprocity. I'm sorry, the law of cause and effect. You give and it has to come back. Okay, so I want to point you back to another resource that is inside your hub. It is the one-page business plan. So if you have not printed this out yet, I recommend that you print this out. Fill it in. Put it in a pretty binder. Like put your ideas and your thoughts and stuff in a binder. My first business plan was basically on a scrap of paper. So your business vision. Your business vision doesn't have to be so grand that you can't even touch it. Your business vision can simply be, I help people in my community live longer in their homes. I help my business vision is I help aging adults live more independently. I work with clients in my zip code, right? Like that could be your vision. You can have a short goal vision and you can have the long goal vision. The long goal vision is I have a team of 10 people who help me. I mean, I'm always like in the moment vision and also long-term visioning. But I don't allow the long-term visioning to freeze me, because if my long-term vision is I have 10 people who are working for me and blah, 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 what happens is my brain immediately goes to the 10-year vision and it starts freaking out because it's like, how do I hire? But I don't even have a single paying client yet. How do I set up systems in my business? But I haven't made $1, right? So we have to be careful when we have these big long-term visions as independent individual businesses. You are not building a corporate empire. If you're building a corporate empire, then you're likely getting big loans and from organizations and stuff to fund you and all, right? Like most of us, that's not what we're doing. What is your mission statement? What is your why statement? Your why statement is why you do what you do. So I do what I do now simply because I want to shortcut the time frame it takes people to make money in their business. I want to shortcut. I want to prevent people from having the same costly mistakes that almost took me out. And then I have a deeper why. But that is my like base why. Core values. If you have core values, you don't need all this stuff. This stuff will come later. Don't let any of this stuff hold you back from talking to people about what it is that you do. Core service bucket number 1. Remember when we talked about the services, right? Your core service bucket number 1, maybe it's errands. And then you can list some services that are under there. Your core bucket number 2, list some services under there. An image is simple. That's a typo. Age, income level, profession, gender, marital status. That might be relevant for you. It might not be relevant for you at all. Geographic location oftentimes is relevant for us because we are often physically doing work, physically going out into clients' homes. Your simple marketing plan, so perhaps it's networking, keeping in touch, and referral campaigns. Your long-term goal for 3 years, your mid-goal. So if you have a long-term goal that's 3 years out, what are your milestones to get there? How are you going to know you're on track? So if your long-term goal from 3 years from now, I'm just going to make it up, is to make 75,000 or make 100K 3 years from now. So December 16th, 2028, I want to be making 100K revenue in my business. Then what are those milestones that are going to get you there? Well, milestone number 1 might be as simple as I make 2K consistently. Milestone number 2 is I make 5K consistently. Goals, when you're setting them, this is one of there's a bajillion ways to set goals. This is just one of them. This is called the CLEAR method. You want to be collaborative. So goals are designed with team input and cooperation in mind. Now, if you don't have a team, it's going to be you. It's you and yourself. Limited, meaning you don't want to have 20 different goals moving at once, just the same reason why you don't want to have 20 different niches at once. Emotional, goals should resonate on a deep personal level. So I think I shared this with you all recently that I have a money goal and a growth goal for myself. And there are a lot of other people and coaches that talk about having a goal of making $1 million within 1 year. Now, I have built multiple $1 million businesses, not in 1 year though. And I look at think of $1 million, and honestly, it doesn't do it. It lays very flat in my body. But my money goal makes me all fuzzy and tingly inside. So I know that resonates with me, because what resonates with you is going to be completely different. I want you to learn to trust yourself and trust your own bodies to help guide you. Like even what I teach, everything I teach is a framework, but the framework is there, but you're still going to find your way to do it. Appreciable, you want to break down those larger goals into manageable incremental steps. So if you want to have 10 clients, then your first step is to get your first paying client, right? Instead of like marketing for 10 people, market to get that first client. Refinable is allowing room for adjustments to evolve, which is I call it the Groundhog Day process. So after I teach after any big thing that you do, you want to have what works, what doesn't work, what will you do differently next time? Even when you go to a networking, right? You go to a networking, you leave, you probably got a whole lot of thoughts running around your head. You sit down, you ask yourself, what worked? What didn't work? What will I do differently next time? What worked? I showed up. I signed up and I showed up. What didn't work? I got there, I hid in the bathroom. What will I do differently? I won't hide in the bathroom, right? Or maybe it's like, what worked? I signed up, I showed up, I walked in, and I stood in the middle of the room. What didn't work? You didn't talk to anybody. What will I do differently next time? I'll talk to one person, right? And these incremental movements is actually what moves the needle forward. So you have access to that in there also. So we want to think about now, and I have to be careful on time. So even though we're not going to meet up again after this call, I want you to think about what are going to be the 3 marketing strategies. That's your homework. What are the 3 marketing strategies you are going to focus on most likely at this point as you kick off the new year? Because it's mid-December, it's a little bit chaotic out there. Everybody's like half in, half out. It might be a complicated time to like dive into things. My very first networking event I went to was, I believe, I want to say it was somewhere around December 10th, 2010. I went anyway. That was the big like dual chamber event, and I puked outside my mom van in the rain under the parking lot lights. Like a deer in headlights, I did. It was terrible. God, it was awful. And I lived through it anyway. So what are the top 2 to 3 marketing strategies you're going to focus on? You also want to draft a short, I don't use the word elevator pitch, but that's what most people think of it as. But draft a short elevator pitch for when people ask you what you do. I like to teach a connection script versus an elevator pitch, because to me, I don't want to pitch someone. To me, I want to connect with someone. So if it's just like a sentence or 2, simple languaging, who you help, what you do. Maybe it's your why statement. Very simple. Just to get them, because again, you're not building some big corporation and you don't have to worry about God, what was it that people used to say? Shit, what's his name? The airline guy. He'd be like, if you were on an elevator for 30 seconds with so and so, how would you pitch your company? It's so uncomfortable. It makes you feel like everything you say is wrong. Yes, Richard Branson. Thank you. Exactly. But that always made me feel like I have it wrong. I didn't say it right. It's not coming out right. It feels hard. People don't get it, right? And thinking that I had to like inspire Richard Branson was very uncomfortable for me versus me thinking about how can I connect with the one human that I'm standing in front of right now. That's easy. So when you're talking about your pitch, stop thinking of it as a pitch. You just want to connect human, heart to heart, human to human. This is what sales is really about. This is intentional marketing from love. So that's going to be your homework. The 2 to 3 marketing strategies you're going to focus on and practice a short elevator pitch connection script. And then set a goal for the number of marketing activities and actions that you're going to take in the first 30 days. So I'll say I would normally say the next 30 days, but again, we're in the holiday season, so I'm going to let everybody breathe. So we'll say the first 30 days of January, the first 30 days of 2026. All right. Okay. There was one question that was submitted. I think it was Jeanette. And I don't know why it doesn't want to show up properly for me, but let me see. I'm going to try to. Okay. She asked, I am working with 2 chambers of commerce groups as well as networking groups. There is a program with one chamber in which I can apply to be a preferred partner. I'd love your thoughts as to offering discounts to chamber members and in what capacity. Okay, so I don't believe in discounts because I think it undervalues. I do believe in incentives. So even just that switch puts you in a different, like giving a discount makes you feel like, ugh. Giving an incentive makes you feel, ooh, right? Like I know that's how it feels in my body, right? So for example, for those of you in Quick Start, you get a $300 credit towards your fully booked enrollment if you enroll while we're in open enrollment, right? I'm not doing that as a discount. I'm not discounting fully booked at all, but I am incentivizing you. It's a very different energy. So, number 1, incentivize. And number 2, I would just go back and think about when we talked about these packages, we talked about like buy, a 10-hour package, get 2 hours for free kind of thing. Here's one thing that I have learned. You don't have to make a different offer for every single group and opportunity out there. Come up with one incentivized offer and offer that to everyone. But in your chamber, you're going to tell them this is just for chamber members. So all chamber members get this. And it's going to be different based on what it is that you do. So it looks like Jeanette with all things errands. So it sounds like it's going to be errand running, right? So I would probably just do a package incentive. But like that's how I did it in the beginning. I did like buy 2 hours, get 1 for free. And I offered that to my chamber members. And then it was buy 4 hours, get 1 hour free. And then I just tweaked it as like 1 year after the other. So I would just pick that, and then that gets to be your incentivized offer, like for the whole 2026. This way you're not overcomplicating it. Okay? That's how I would do it. So I have about 5 or 6 minutes that I can stay on. If anybody live here has questions that they want to ask, anything about anything we talked about today. Anybody? You can either type it in the chat or you can come off. Is your open door still on for tomorrow? Yes, actually, yes. Yeah. So Evelyn was asking about our tomorrow, if you're a member of Fully Booked or 100K Club at 10 a.m., I'm having a my brain is mush now. Open office hours. So it's just an open Zoom room for 1 hour from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. People can just hop in, ask questions, and hop back out. So if you did enroll in Fully Booked, that I am still going to host that tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Yeah. Unless I wake up in the morning and I'm crumpled into a ball of mush on the floor, then we'll send out a reschedule email. But as of right now, in this moment, yes. Any other questions? What was your most challenging hurdle in your early marketing? Ooh, my most challenging hurdle was me trying to be everything to everyone, and I exhausted myself versus picking one main lane, because I think I shared that with you all last week. Like when we talk about like I was trying to do seniors and busy people. And then, of course, somebody came along and gave me the idea for corporate. And then I popped up here and I wanted to do corporate. And what happened was the time that I had for marketing, I was splitting it everywhere. And then when I went to networking, I didn't know if I was talking about this or this or this, which made it feel really confusing to me. So then I never quite felt like I knew what I was talking about versus just picking one. And then when we talked about like the centers of influence, right? Your centers of influence for seniors will be different than your centers of influence for the busy people. And so I was trying to do both. So if let's just say there's 8 centers of influence here and 8 core centers of influence here, that's, I was doing like 16 and trying to build relationships with all of these people long term, not just like a one-off conversation. And then also networking in itself can be tackled by 2, but sometimes where you're spending your time and your networking, because again, networking is both structured and unstructured. So if you're networking, there are networking groups, communities, resources that are specific to seniors. And then there are ones that would be not specific to busy people, but if you are in again, like a PTA or a PTO or something, and you have busy people or who you're targeting, but you're also targeting seniors, sometimes it can overlap, but I found myself, I was just over exhausting. I was like doubling, it was basically doubling because I was in essence running 2 businesses at one time. So I was marketing for both at the same time. So that was the most challenging hurdle. That and the educating, because I would say what I did and people would get the glassed over look. But when I decided to stick to one, and then here's what happened, right? I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this, right? Because then what would happen is like if I would talk to people about seniors, and then I would meet people and they would be like, oh, come join our group, come to our event, come to this resource table, come to this co-op-y, collaborative thing that's just, we're all in the community and we're all here to help seniors. And I'd be like, oh my God, yes, 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 I'll come, I'll come, I'll come. And I'd sign up for all these things to come and be a guest and to connect with all these people. And then the same thing was over here. They're like, oh, come check out our group. Come over here. We think you would find value here. You would be a good add to this. And I'm like, yes, 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 yes. And I would go over there. And so it was so exhausting, right? And then so what I would do is I decided, I was like, all right, for the next 6 months, I'm just gonna focus on seniors, right? And so I would just focus mostly on seniors, and then I would get people who were like busy people or so forth, come like request services, and then my brain at the time would be like, oh, so I'm not meant to work with seniors, I'm meant to work with the busy people because that's what I'm getting, right? And so I would shift. So then my committed 6 months focusing on marketing to seniors, then I would shift over to the busy people. And as soon as I would start marketing it over here to the busy people, I would get seniors. And I'd be like, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to work with the busy people because that's what I'm getting. And I found out later, like, right, when I talked about it's the energy that you put in comes out. If I would have known that then, it wouldn't have meant that I had to change all of my focus every time that that happened. And I see that happen with a lot of people where, let's say, for example, they want to work with seniors, and then like there's somebody in Fully Booked right now who is right at that cusp of kind of being fully booked. And when she started, she wanted to help seniors, and then she realized that she wanted to help seniors like do companionship, but then she also wanted to do like downsizing, organizing, and move management stuff. And I was like, okay, you can do both, but if you pick one, you will actually book out faster. And so she started to lean towards the moving stuff. And then she said, yes, but I'm getting all these calls for this over here. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean you have to go over there. You can still decide I'm no longer offering companionship and stay here. And so she let herself be shifted, and then she remarketed herself as doing both again. And then a couple months later, she realized, no, no. And then she went just all in on the downsizing stuff. She still had a couple clients for companionship. So that didn't mean that she couldn't keep working with them. She just stopped marketing to that and only marketed to this one service. So a lot of times we think what we're getting or the calls that we're getting are what we're supposed to do. And that's not true. What you're supposed to do is what feels right in the moment. So if you get the call for the busy people, even though you're promoting seniors and it feels good and you want to say yes to that, say yes to that. But that doesn't mean that your business has to change. It doesn't mean that you give up and scrap the seniors because this is what you're getting. Same thing happens with, we talked about this probably in week 1, like the cleaning stuff, right? The cleaning services. People will be like, yeah, but that's all the calls that I'm getting are cleaning. I'm like, yeah, but you keep taking them. You don't want cleaning clients, you don't want a cleaning business, then stop taking cleaning clients. Say, no, that's not what I do. And redirect. This is what I do. So those were my most, those were literally the most challenging things. You're so welcome. All right, did I see, I thought Vicky had her hand raised, but is she still here? I think she popped off. Oh, you're so welcome, Alejandra. You're so welcome. I'm so glad you were here. All right, my friends, so that's going to be a wrap. Don't forget, you still have access to enroll in Fully Booked. We kick off January 5th with our business planning retreat. If you need the 8-pay option, email Tanya because we had it open for a while and then we closed it. I forget what it was. It might have been like 3.25 or something like that. If you need that 8-pay option, email Tanya in the support and she will put the page on for you, but we can only keep the page on for you for like 24 hours tops. So only do that if you intentionally want to do that. And let's see. And then I don't know if she has the thing in here. I will put in, I don't see the link in here. I'll make sure that she puts the link inside the hub that has the discounted incentivized sales page for you. So Evelyn, you're so welcome, Evelyn. Yeah, I have loved these 4 weeks, these 4 week sprints that we've done. They've been a lot of fun. Helen, this has been so informative. Thank you so much for the wealth of insight and insightful. You're so welcome. Yeah. I've lived a lot of life in 15 years. Actually, yesterday was officially my 15-year mark where I was an official business. When I got my DBA, I can pull it out of my little binder over there. My DBA is the do business as. I didn't have an LLC yet, but I filed my little like thing in the local newspaper saying Kelly Schaefer was doing business as this company name. And so it was December 15th, 2010. Whew, it's been a long time. So thank you all so much for being here with me and your great questions. And if you need anything, just let us know and I'll see you in the future. Bye, everyone.